It's for honors government. Maybe. All right. So, course objectives. Students will understand the rule of laws of class, plan, family, school, state, local, national governments. We did do that. So we talked about the smallest unit of government being a family, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then the school, right? We were kind of talking about that, you know. And I said, follow the money. That's the last thing I said, right?
Yes.
Tish, right? That's who runs the school. Serious. Okay, if you want to know, that's it. So, day-to-day affairs. Mrs. Harshberger. Big decisions. Tish. Okay. All right, she used to be the principal. And then taught computers before that. All right. Well, do we want to go higher? Local government? Let's talk about local government. Okay, so who is the highest elected official in the city of Wichita? The mayor. Brandon Whipple. Yes. Okay. And we have a city council.
Yes.
Also, we have school boards. So USD 259 has a local government of school board members. That's a local government. Okay. You have the Sedgwick County Commissioners. Okay, the city council, the mayor. Okay, those are local governments. Right. Now, a lot of the services that we use, like fire and police, those are controlled by local governments as well. Okay, so we do not have a top-down approach, one size fits all. We have divided government, layers of government. Okay, and that's a good thing. All right, next, state government. Okay, where is our capital? Okay, not Lecompton. You guys study Kansas history. And they have a big battle over where they're going to have the capital. They wanted Lecompton. Some people wanted Lecompton. You don't know where that is. I don't either, but it's somewhere up there.
Los Angeles. No, that's Compton.
Okay, yes. And then national government, okay? And so that's Washington, D.C. is our national seat of government. All right, student understands shared ideas and diversity of American society and political culture. We'll be jumping right into that. Student understands how the U.S. Constitution allocates and restricts power and responsibility of the government. So yes, we will do a pretty in-depth study. There's 7 articles in the Constitution. We will know them. We will know what they do. Okay, what powers are granted to the national government and what are not. Okay. Student identifies, examines rights, privileges, responsibilities, become an active participant. If you don't vote, then somebody else will be voting for you and making those decisions for you. Okay. And, you know, if you're okay with that, if you're apathetic and you're like, my vote doesn't really matter, being involved in politics doesn't really matter, I'm not really interested in that. Okay. Well, then somebody else will make those decisions and you really won't have a say. Okay. But our system of government is really reliant upon the people, okay, to be involved. Student understands various systems of government, how nations and international organizations interact. Turn the page. Okay, this is your book. You'll be responsible for reading assigned readings in Founding Fathers. I talked to you guys about this. There's going to be like 3 times where I say, I need you to read this. Yes, you're going to do that, okay? Assessments will be conducted on a periodic basis. 6 or 7 tests, 1 over each section. Quizzes if you are not reading the assignment. So if you guys do bad and you have, hey, tomorrow we're going to discuss this, and the discussion stinks, then maybe we'll just have a quiz over the English Petition of Right, 1628. The English's second constitution after the Magna Carta, 400 years later. This is a reading and writing intensive class. You must bring a pen and paper with you each day to take notes unless directed otherwise. Now listen, the first week you just need a pen. You won't be taking notes. Unless you want to take notes, you can. but you won't be tested over what we're doing the first week. Cool? Beans. All right, now. No. No. What? Yeah, it's a movie, right? No.
What?
Superstar or super, what's that?
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Jack and I just walked, not super bad. The guy that rides the moped.
Is that not Napoleon?
No.
That's
You know what I'm
a
talking about? You're admiring this? It's just Bluetooth.
What's it for?
I lost him. Yeah, I could have lost it.
It's okay.
Cool beans. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just.
cool beans. What movie is that?
It's just, I've never heard of
It's just, you never heard of this?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty generic thing.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's from the movie.
I've heard it.
What? Yes, I think so.
How old is said movie? That's a
Is it,
opinion.
is it like a dip? Yeah, I think I was in Moped. I'm a little wide.
Oh, hey, Bryce. How's it going, man? Oh, hey, Al.
This one,
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, hot.
Hot Rod.
I said,
I didn't hear you, Johnson.
yeah,
We could have dispelled all of this. Okay.
I don't think.
Speak up, Michael.
Hot Rod. Okay, final at the end of the semester. The final one here is not bad. Okay. The tests are. Okay, homework assignments due at the beginning of class hour on the due date unless otherwise specified. So some of your homework will be in the book, okay, but I don't want to collect your book and I don't want you to rip pages out of your book. So what you do is you can do it in your book or just like say it's got 27 matching, you can just do those on another sheet of paper or do them on canvas, take a picture of it, however you want to do it. Take a picture is probably the best option, you know, if you're doing it in the book. Does that make sense? Okay. Some homework assignments will be optional. Some will be mandatory. Okay. All right. I'll let you know. But you're probably going to want to do all the assignments to help your grade first and second tests. Homework, I did that. Okay. 10% a day late off. Okay. You can get college credit for this class. Okay, so with this class and my history class, you guys can get 6 hours of college credit from me this year through Friends University. Okay, you can do for this class, it covers basically a political science 101 or POLS 100. Okay, it's a humanities type class. So if you're going to college in Kansas, if you're going to K-State, you're going to KU, you're going to Pitt State, Emporia State, Fort Hays, these classes will transfer. If you're going to Notre Dame, they won't. Going to Yale, they won't. So if you're going to one of those kind of colleges, you might want to look into it. Okay? Now, it's like $85 a credit hour. This is not Newman, this is Friends. So when they give me the information of how to sign up, I will pass that on to you. Okay? If you want to do it. You don't have to do it. It's up to you. Okay? When you go to get your undergraduate degree, at most colleges you have to take what are called humanities classes. You know, humanities classes like music appreciation or art appreciation. Oh, I know. I still remember taking music appreciation in college where you had to be able to listen to classical music and tell the professor who the composer was. Okay? I'm still pretty good at it. Like you play some Bach or some Mozart or some Vivaldi, I'm pretty good. Sure. Sure. Did you grow up playing the piano?
I did not.
I didn't either. Did any of you? Mom?
They did.
Jay did, but you got out of it?
No, I don't care about
Did you learn an instrument?
it. No, actually, we learned recorders in 5th grade, so.
No, it doesn't count. Anybody, any musicians in here? Trombone? So you know, you did like get trained on some classical stuff or? Right, you the piano and stuff, you know. Okay, so I'll let you know on that. Okay, semester project, I talked about the book you're gonna have to read, right? And you have to write a 3 to 5 page book review. You'll be turning that on turnitin.com. Everybody's familiar with that. Okay, that way I know whether you're plagiarizing or not. So right there, I mean, just having turnitin.com has saved me a ton of grief because it really stinks telling a kid, hey, look what you did, and you get a 0, and now I'm going to go talk to your counselor, and then I got to talk to your parents because they're going to want to know why your grade went from an A to a D. Okay, so don't do it. Now, if you use somebody else's work, just give them credit and cite it. You know what I mean? And then you're good. Say, so-and-so said this, this is where I found that, and boom, you're covered. Okay? Did you know the President of the United States, Joe Biden, got busted for plagiarism in college?
Yes.
And for plagiarizing other people's speeches without giving them credit? Guys, it's a thing. It's a thing. You're supposed to do it. And if we don't teach you that, then we're not doing our jobs. Now, just in case you don't got it, you can turn to page, don't I have it in here? I have a statement on plagiarism. Yes, I do, on page 12. 12 and 13. Okay? So if you need to know something about it, there it is. Okay? Back to page 3. Generally, guys, I'm here by 7 a.m. every morning. Okay, now I have 7th hour plan right now, so generally I won't be hanging out in here after school. So if you need to see me, a.m. is the best time. Okay, mornings. Okay. I'm the groundskeeper on the baseball field. Okay, we don't have one, so I do it. Okay, do I get paid extra for that? No. Okay. But if you're looking for the nicest patch of grass on campus to have a picnic, it would be the baseball infield. Okay, you're welcome to go out there and have a picnic anytime you want. Just don't tear it up. Pick up after yourself. Outfield's pretty good. It's just not cut as short. So you don't want tall grass. You don't want to pick this up short, green grass. No shade out there, so you might want to wait till the fall. Or an umbrella. Just don't put it in the grass. Yeah, if you, what? You see what? Somebody practicing?
Geese.
Oh, yeah, geese, yes. If you see Canadian geese on the baseball field, chase them off. You tell me you did it, I'll buy you a candy bar. For sure. In the wintertime, scare the crap out of them so they don't come back. No, because that goose crap is toxic to grass. God, it's like, gotta
Two
say,
candy bars if you terminate one.
now, I think it's illegal in the city.
Why?
So,
No, I can't encourage you to do it. Shotgun would be good, but
Dude, I could probably fit a bunch of these. So is it like? Ryan's got a good point. I've got a cover on my truck, so you can't tell.
no, don't do it.
And they can't fly away.
Don't
when
do
they're
it.
driving out.
Don't just run after, scream at them, honk the horn, whatever. Don't drive on the Okay. Make certain you are acquainted with the general rules and procedures found in your agenda books. This course is about government and civics, which inherently involves the study of the rule of law and order. If you intend to do well in this class, you should expect to obey all the following school rules and policies. Be aware that if you're caught cheating on any assignment, you'll most likely receive a 0 for your effort. Incidents will be reviewed beyond a case-by-case basis, but generally cheating will result in no credit. That's another nice thing about turnedin.com is it holds all the papers that have been previously turned in my class. So if you borrow your older siblings' paper, I'll catch it. Yes, they did. Most of them did. Well, you have to go back a ways. They didn't, but yes. But they probably lost that. Yes, the one Pinsky's go back decades. Okay. Other disciplinary action as well for cheating. Okay. Keep your eyes on your own papers, please. If you guys need to coordinate, like some of the stuff is you got to think through some of the homework and so forth. And I'm certainly okay with you like talking to other people and studying with other people and working with other people to try and get the right answer, except on a test. Okay. And actually, I do encourage study groups for the test because some people really get it and some people don't get it. And so if you can study with somebody that gets it, that can really benefit you. Okay, because the test can be pretty daunting. All right. I do mean to scare you because I want you to study. Because if you don't study, you will not do well. Okay. If you do study, you should be fine. Okay. But I am trying to scare you. Demerits for me, I'm not a big demerit guy. My big thing is language and public display of affection. I don't like that. Take that somewhere else, please. Look, people have a right to come to a Catholic school and not see certain things or hear certain things. You know what I mean? And when you go off campus, you're hanging out with your boys, some of you got potty mouths, you got potty mouths, okay? When I'm hanging out with my boys, I'm not an angel. I'm a baseball coach, okay? If you've ever been in a dugout, well, it's different. Okay. Let's see. This is your resource. Total points system, right? Total points. So a point on a homework assignment, same as a point on a test, same as it is on a project. Okay? That's good, yes? You like the weighted stuff?
No.
I didn't like the weighted stuff when I was in school. Why would I do it to you? You know what I mean? See, that's the thing, guys. I won't ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. Okay? So, is that fair? All right. Will we have a department test at the end of the semester? I hope not. We are working on building a state assessment, a classroom-based state assessment. That part of it will be given sophomore, junior, and senior year. When we study the Bill of Rights, I have put together a small project that will cover us for the classroom-based social studies state assessment. Okay. It's not going to be difficult or hard, maybe a little bit time consuming, but not too bad. Okay, so you'll basically do research on one of the Bill of Rights amendments and write me 2 really good paragraphs answering a big question, and that'll be it. And you'll get a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on your answer. Okay, so that'll be A, B, C, or D. And if you get a D, which is a 1, I'll let you do it again so you can get it up to a C. Because that's what you're supposed to do these days. Okay? It's give second chances. Okay? That's the only time I'm giving you a second chance. There's no retakes on tests, right? You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. Okay, we're not doing that. Okay, good? Any questions over the syllabus? Okay, if we had time, which is not likely, we might do some debates, which is page 4, which is a rubric for that. I'll let you come back to that if we need to, okay? Now, turn to page 5. This is a good resource for book reviews. Like, so, Mr. Ebright, I don't know what to write about. You can go to this. You do not have to use this, okay? In fact, I wouldn't use it if I was writing a book review, but if I was writing a book review and I was stuck, and I'm like, I don't know what to write about, then I would go to this, okay? The best way to think about how to write a book review is to read other people's book reviews, like people that do it for a living. Read their book reviews and say, oh, that's good writing. I need to write like that. Okay? Don't plagiarize. Get ideas. Now turn to page 6. Answer the questions on page 6. You've got 4 minutes. Do not talk to each other. It's on your own. It's not for a grade.
Well, I thought you said you guys together.
Not on this one. Sophie? Huh? Yeah, you can write in these. Write in your book. Write in your book. I know. There's a point. Okay, let's grade it. You can grade it yourself. Now be honest whether you get it right or wrong, okay? So mark it wrong if you get it wrong. All right, name of the Supreme Court case that legalized abortion in the United States. Roe v. Wade. What year?
1970.
72? I think it was 72.
I think it's 73.
You might be right.
My mom was born in 1970.
Okay. Okay. The governor of Kansas. Did you know?
Wait,
She said she would legalize.
All right. Number 4. Who represents the 4th Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives? Ron Estes.
Oh, I was right.
E-S-T-E-S.
I don't know the senators. Oh, wait, is it still on, what's his name? The old dude.
Hang on. Current Secretary of, what do we have on there?
The senator.
Okay.
Name one of the two senators.
Name one of the two. I have changed it up,
Is it
and I don't have a
still
copy for myself. So this, Pat Roberts retired. He was replaced by Roger Marshall. And the other one is Jerry Moran.
Oh.
Now, you guys know Miss Beaker. She's down in the advancement office, secretary down there, Miss Beaker.
Yep.
She used to be a secretary for Jerry Moran when he was a lawyer. I guess he's still a lawyer. Now he's a senator. Okay. All right. Number 5. Who's the vice president?
Come on.
Harris. Okay. Who's the current Speaker of the House?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
Is she also the Senate majority? Because
No, that's me.
Did you know that?
no. We're the
See.
Speaker of the House.
Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that? Who's the Senate Majority Leader?
Is it also Nancy Pelosi?
No. Chuck
Oh, it is Chuck?
Schumer, New York. Pelosi's from San Francisco, California. Okay, so the two leaders in Congress, one from San Francisco, one from New York City. True or false? Affirmative action is a policy that supplies money to poor nations that are friends of the United States. Oh, yes, we do. False. That is false. I rewrote one here. So what does that say? Biden was served as vice president under Obama. True or false? True. That was an easy one. Number 10. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia are considered allies of the United States.
I said true.
I said true.
Yeah, because we trade oil. We trade oil with.
True.
Hey, I got one. That's why I went with figured that.
Yeah, I know, because I wasn't sure about Pakistan.
The United States is part of NATO.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, we pulled out of NATO.
No, he didn't pull us out.
Oh, wait, he threatened to cut funding.
Yes, he did. We are still part of NATO. Yes, true. Trump made NATO countries pay what they were supposed to pay. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Kim Jong-un is the dictator of South Korea. North Korea. What does ISIS or IS stand for?
Islamic States of Syria and Iraq.
Okay, Iraq is, okay, Islamic State or Islamic State of
Oh, wait, it's Iraq and Syria.
Iraq and Syria.
Yes.
Now, I've heard this term used this week, people, ISIS-X, which is in Afghanistan. So right now, so you got all these people trying to get to Kabul airport, right? Have you been paying? Okay.
Yes.
Now, the Taliban has made an agreement, present to supposed to let people through, right? If they've got their papers. What's the problem is Al-Qaeda and ISIS-X are there too. And they don't give a rat's you know what about Biden's agreement with the Taliban. You know what I mean? So that they're starting to cause some problems. And the more of them that start showing up at Kabul airport, the worse this situation is going to get. Okay, so that's kind of, and there's a lot going on there. And there are still Afghan National Army troops fighting against the Taliban in Afghanistan and other parts of the country right now. So the media is not talking about that. Okay, so like you gotta like find this stuff. And it's hard to find other information than just what the big networks are talking about. You know what I mean? So I saw this guy, he's on Twitter, like this general that's part of the Afghan army that we helped train. He's got a Twitter account. I followed it. Okay. And they're probably going to go down. Like, he's like, this may be my last post type of thing. I mean, it's intense. Okay. All right. Sorry. Now, guys, ISIS has mostly been kicked out of Iraq and Syria. Okay. But they're popping up in other places like Yemen. Okay. They're in North Africa as well, and Libya and Mali, Mali, Mali. Anywhere there's like failed governments, Libya and so forth, where it's just chaos, so they can set up shop there. Okay, which amendments to the Constitution provides for the freedom of religion?
What? Oh, I didn't even see that question.
First Amendment. How many members are there on the Supreme Court? 9. Name one that was appointed by Trump. Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh,
and with
what's his name? Yeah, there's a picture of them in your book. They're on page
I knew it was 3. I knew it was
103. Neil Gorsuch. Okay. And finally, where can you find the Gaza Strip on a map?
Israel.
Let's say Palestine.
Israel. Palestine, that works.
I put both. But it's not
Okay.
Palestine.
Yeah. Which would be the politically correct answer.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, cover both sides. All right, how many did you get right? Did anybody get 14 right? 15, 14 or 15?
I don't know.
I missed 2.
Missed 2, 14, that's good. 13? Pretty good. 12? 12 is a 75%. 11? Failing. 10? Right, and down. So listen, that's my point. The discussion I had with you guys yesterday about, how I said Friday, I like tuning out of the news, but I really haven't. I just quit watching TV news. Okay. And then I'm careful about where I go for my news. And so there's stuff that I'm tired of reading BS. You know what I mean? I'm just tired of the crap. And we really need to really have some introspection here about finding some good media sources. Okay. Have you ever heard of Reuters? Reuters. It's an international news organization, agency. Okay. And generally they do a pretty good job, like with the headlines, like just telling you, hey, this is happening, which is like reporting, right? Without throwing an opinion. But where you run into trouble with organizations like Reuters is, it's the stuff they choose not to tell you, to cover. Like they just, we're not going to tell people about it. Okay, like you'll hear a news story on a conservative website that's kind of a big deal, and then you go over to Reuters, and they're just not covering it. So they're biased by what they choose not to cover. But generally, when they cover something, they tend to just try and give you the facts, which is good. I mean, props to that. Editorializing or giving your opinion is where you run into trouble. So if you turn on any of the cable news networks or even the NBC, ABC, CBS, the national news networks, it's loaded with bias because the individual reporters like to interject, or their editors like to interject their agenda or their opinion into those stories. And so we'll talk more about, maybe some good places you can go to find news, get unbiased information. It's exceedingly difficult. Okay. All right. Turn to page 7. How much time do I have? 7 minutes? Okay. So listen, guys. You on page 7?
Yes.
You got a list of what? 24 things?
Yes.
Do not, listen to me. Do not go ahead of me on this. How many of you guys missed the affirmative action true and false question? Okay.
I got it right.
Okay, because you had a 50-50 chance. Because I'm going to bring you up here and explain affirmative action.
Okay.
Actually, that's
No, you can't.
That's,
So listen, we are going to do these one at a time. The longer it takes me to get through these 24, the longer it is before I start lecturing and you start taking notes.
Yay.
Which could be days.
We can get you.
No way, dude. Now, the first one, okay, now let me talk about this first, okay? So, like, when we're done with this, I asked the question the other day, how many people really understand the difference between, the right-wing perspective versus the left wing? And some of you put your hands up, some of you are like, You're really going to understand here. And you're going to find out where you are on that political spectrum. Whether you are to the right, whether to the left, whether you're in the middle, maybe you lean a little bit right or left, okay? When we're done with this, you'll have a lot better idea of where you are, okay? So what I'm going to try and do, unbiasedly, is give you both sides of how this is viewed from the political left and right, each of these issues. And you're going to answer yes or no. Now, some of these, I know some of you people, like, oh, I'm torn. I don't want to make a decision. But you have to make a decision. You have to get off the fence. Get off the fence, okay? Now, if it makes you feel better, you can qualify or give reasoning off to the side. I am not collecting these. These are for you. These are not for me, okay? So I don't care what you write down, yes or no. And if you want to write something, so let me give you a quick example. Abortion. It says eliminate abortion. Have you ever heard somebody say, I'm for eliminating abortion, except in the cases of rape or incest? You ever heard that before? I'm not saying it's right or wrong, okay? But you could say, yes, eliminate abortion. Then if it made it easier for you to say yes or no, you could write off to the side, except in the cases of rape or incest. You see what I'm saying there? Okay? And so, guys, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer here. It's your opinion. Okay? But my job here over the next few days is to give you context. These are all important issues. Some of them more important than others. Some of them may seem trivial, but it helps get into your mind about how you think. Does that make sense? Okay? So, the first one, if I had to pick a group of people that, bless you, that knew something about abortion, I think picking Catholic school seniors, you probably have been taught a lot about this in your time. I would assume. Yeah. So I'll let you answer that. I'm not going to talk about it. You guys know the debate. Number 2, affirmative action. Okay, now, affirmative action comes in Civil Rights Act of 1964. So this is generally what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the law. I'm going to give you what the Constitution says versus that law. I'm going to give you what the Supreme Court has said about these different cases, okay? And then maybe the moral argument or not. And then you can decide. So I'm going to give you a lot of background here. And I probably not going to finish today with affirmative action, but I'm going to get started, okay? And you guys will remind me where I left off. Now, so affirmative action, 1964. Now, this act put into place a process of trying to help groups of people in this country, known as minorities, to overcome previous discrimination in 3 different areas. 1, the workplace. 2, college admittance or acceptance. 3, in government contracts. Okay, so like if we're going to build a bridge, like 235, we're going to fix that bridge, build a new bridge, right? The city of Wichita doesn't build that bridge. They give the contract to a company to build that bridge. So they get a government contract. You follow me? That private business does. Okay. So traditionally, guys, historically in this country's been dominated by white males. You look at every president of the United States up until 2008 has been a white male. You look at most members of Congress traditionally throughout the years have been white men. Okay, you look at Fortune 500 companies, corporations, CEOs, dominated by white men. Okay, so who is a minority in the United States? Who is seen as a minority? Okay, African Americans, good. Who else? Asian Americans, sometimes on the Asian Americans. Hispanic Americans, yes. Native Americans, Eskimo Americans, Pacific Islanders, like people from American Samoa. Who else? What about Indian Americans, like from India? Yes. Arab Americans? Yes. Indian Americans? As if you look demographically, the number one racial demographic that has the highest standard of living in the United States of America, it is not white people, my friend. It is Indian Americans. They are more well off as a group than any other people. And who's number two? Asians. Then white people. Are Italian Americans seen as a minority? No, they are not. Okay, so we're missing a big one. Like more than half the population. Women are seen as a minority as well. Just not a racial minority, but a gender minority, even though there are more women than men in the country. Women have been oppressed in this country. You ladies did not get the right to vote until 1920. Okay? And discrimination and sexual harassment throughout the decades and so forth. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So it's easier to say who's not a minority, right? White Christian males generally, or white males. Okay? So we'll pick up from there, and I'll explain how this is instituted tomorrow. Good? Have a great day.